We are pleased to have you join us again in this, the Twilight Time Traveler series. These episodes are dedicated to unmasking and fully revealing the extent of our extraterrestrial visitations. In the absence of meaningful government disclosure, we shall provide you with sufficient documentation to answer the questions many have pondered for thousands of years. Are we alone? That is no longer the question. The real question is how many extraterrestrial alien races can Earth accommodate? Saucers have always been a part of our history, but we now entertain 14 extraterrestrial alien races. An in-depth analysis reveals when they first arrived, the craft they traverse space in, what their capabilities are, and of course, why they are here. There is no question as to whether this series of episodes will leave you wondering about our place in the intergalactic consortium. But before we embark on this quest to understand our alien neighbors, we shall minimize our outliers, eliminate the external human variables, and we shall make some educated assumptions based on the evidence. Marconi rolled out the welcome mat, and Earth is the homing beacon to the heavens. Welcome to Earth. Will you be staying long? The following documented cases you are about to see and hear in our Twilight Time Travelers episodes may not be for the faint of heart, or for those with deep religious convictions, for your world is about to change. I'm your host, Mike Kearney. Only the most accurate and descriptive eyewitness accounts were used in conducting the compilation analysis. Even the remote possibility of external activities or events influencing the observation or experience have been omitted. This is a comprehensive list of purposely omitted sites. Ball lightning, aka St. Elmo's fire, was eliminated. Aurora borealis, aka northern light displays, were not considered. Iridium flares, signal flares, twinkling stars were omitted. Starlink satellites, ISS, space debris or re-entry vehicles were deleted. Space launches, missile launches, or separation stages falling back to Earth were easily dispensed with. Meteors, asteroids, and comets were not considered. Gaslighting, swamp gas, and morning star fog were definitely not included. UFO at laser light shows were considered if they performed extraordinary feats apart from the show. UFOs at fireworks shows were only considered if it was clearly not part of the event itself. With the exception of one balloon regatta, all others were excluded. Blimp advertising, planes dragging banners, spotlights, RC planes, and drones were not allowed. Japanese balloons, Chinese lanterns, weather and regular balloons were omitted. Fata Morganas, atmospheric anomalies, bird flocks, lens flares, and other odd image anomalies were omitted. Stadiums, refineries, oil rigs, ships, lighthouses, and transmission towers with strobes were also omitted. Inebriated partygoers or those who sounded like they had a bit too much of something were not included. Were not clear in their description, hoaxes, CGI, or too distant to tell were omitted. Witness accounts who describe aircraft, which are probably ours, were eliminated. Non-alien related supernatural events or paranormal experiences are not included. Of course, the easiest to eliminate were those who have obviously watched way too many ET movies. Based on human history, when a discovery is made or an invention produced which is of significant importance and impacts society as a whole, it becomes universally accepted. The inferior designs fall by the wayside, but the superior designs survive the test of time and are often copied and produced all over the world. The original crapper commode has had some refinements and amenities added, but the function remains the same. Edison bulbs are still around 130 years later. The first hot air balloon was launched in 1783. That was 237 years ago. They now come in all shapes and sizes, but are still hot air balloons. Until recently, wings have done an outstanding job and will continue to do so. Based on our history, one would reasonably assume other extraterrestrial races would do the same thing. The craft we are about to discuss are so intrinsically diverse from one another, and of course anything that we possess, the assumption could be made that these extraterrestrial beings hail from distant planets and different societies. Now, who let that Cessna out of the museum? Our extraterrestrial guests are masters of time dilation. The energy levels and speeds produced by these craft demonstrate the ability to compress time and space to the extent that their biological time clocks and craft deterioration slow considerably or are negligible. In this time dilation chart, you're not really going to get very far unless you get up to at least 75% or more. So don't expect the Fountain of Youth quite yet unless you can travel like this craft right here. The stargates, wormholes, or portholes may indicate the ability to create folds in space, in which case multiple warp speeds could be achieved without violating Einstein's theory. Alcubierre's theory, based on his formula, can circumvent Einstein's theory without violating its principles. NASA's theoretical computer models illustrate how this might work in space, and this is the craft NASA would like to use. Space, in time compression, is a generic term usually related to one's mode of travel. For our time travelers, the expression may be a bit antiquated. It has been theorized that you cannot go back in time. However, if Alcubierre is correct, you can. Where you will end up is the mystery. Some equate time and space to an oscilloscope wave or an ocean with swells forming crests and troughs. The slower we travel, the further in between swells. As the swells grow closer and closer, multiple swells form. Our spacecraft is riding on the crests of waves of time, much like snowboarding over moguls, crest to crest. The discussion of space-time compression, aka York time, continues, with no definitive answer. I submit the recently discovered beam would indicate 5 times the speed of light is possible. Warp 5, please. Sounds better than York 5, please. What would seem to have been a trivial comment made by a witness in the report may have revealed their true means of interstellar travel. We will be back to check on you in 10 to 15 years. One surmise they are leaving, perhaps heading home after a long stay here on Earth, the vacation destination of choice in Cassiopeia. At 15 years, this would be a 7.5-year trip. To date, no known habitable planets are within 7.5 light years. Even the closest habitable planets are over 20 light years away. Proxima b was recently blasted by a high-energy flare sufficient to devastate surface life forms in its path. The sun can spawn life or take it away. It would not be unreasonable to conclude that they implemented Alcubierre's theoretical formula, the Fountain of Youth, immortality. An astounding observation was recently revealed. A beam was detected traversing the galaxy 5 times faster than the speed of light. The source is still under investigation. Bearing in mind these theoretical possibilities, let's embark on a pre-15-year journey through space, like our visitors. My 40-year-old twin will remain on Earth. I will be on the Minnow Galaxy cruiser traveling at 90% of the speed of light. When I return in 15 years, my twin will be 74 years old. I will be 55 years old. In this context, the craft seen today may be the exact same craft and being seen a generation ago, 2 generations ago, or more. In other words, our parents, grandparents, or even possibly our great-grandparents. Our CubeSats at 25% of the speed of light will only realize a 3% difference in aging. At 95% of the speed of light, aging slows even more. 10 years on our craft is 32 years on Earth. We shall dissect and analyze our alien visitors and their craft. The 32 pages of data you are about to review may be disturbing, even frightening for some. Caution is recommended for those that are squeamish. Our story begins. This provides a general view as to how the pages in the UFO handbook are laid out. Our extraterrestrial craft have been categorized by type, number, and year first reported. These craft numbers have been derived from a filtered data selection with the East Coast and West Coast combined together. Saucers, fireballs, serpents, rods, and orbs have been legendary for hundreds of years. So this compilation will begin on June 17, 1930, a saucer flight over Texas. This truly marks the beginning of our visitations from far and wide. Marconi's transmission to the heavens has worked. As of December 12, 1901. We have categorized this into saucers, chevrons, bells, triangles, cubes, cylinders, derbies, diamonds, pyramids, donuts, and manta rays, and an assortment of other craft we will discuss later. This also begins our first documented visitation from the Men in Black, 1930. So, the sample data extraction below will be converted into a percentage representing the probable mix of alien craft. It would not be unreasonable to assume this holds true not only for America but throughout the world during the same time frame. The elusive bell does not seem to have any data pertaining to its first recorded sighting, yet the craft seems to have made its appearance. Well, between 1930 and 1951, there were 13 saucers, and we given the token bell. 1966 was a hallmark year with the arrival of the chevron. The first documented sighting of the pyramid was in 1968, and, of course, in honor of the 1969 Apollo moon landing, the cubes and derbies floated into town. When our astronaut mentioned they are watching from the edge of the crater, that was indeed an understatement. In the 49-year span between 1930 and 1979, 119 saucers, 6 chevrons, 1 bell, 14 triangles, 7 cubes, 53 cylinders, 1 derby, 1 diamond, and 1 pyramid sighting was recorded, for a total of 203 recorded and documented sightings. During this time frame, the most active years were the late 1960s. 1968 had 28 documented sightings. No manta ray or donut sightings were recorded by 1979. The first recorded diamond sighting was in 1977. The 1938 War of the Worlds broadcast by Orson Welles, followed by World War II in 1939, opened the floodgates, and like spectators to an event, they were en route for a front row seat. If Marconi's transmission survived its travels through space, it would be 78 light years away now. The first TV station transmission was 51 light years ago. Orson Welles in World War II were 40 light years ago. Only 20 parsecs out, and we've already attracted quite a crowd. Of the 19,360 plus documented cases studied, only the most concrete evidence and credible eyewitness accounts were selected. Clear multiple craft sightings, 3 saucers, 2 triangles, etc., are accounted, even though it was only one sighting. There's no way to quantify which UFOs, if any, may have been seen in other areas of the country that same day or evening. One can only speculate unless they were on board or at the radar screen. The following page from the UFO Handbook spans the years 1980 to 2008. Our cast of characters would be incomplete without the manta ray and donuts. The donuts made their debut in 1998. The mantas are latecomers, first appearing in 2007. A very slick design, far more appealing than the utilitarian cube or flat-wall donut. The Columbia Shuttle, an alien favorite, is launched in 1981. In 1984, SETI is established. By 1986, Arecibo's transmission is 12 light years away. HARP is officially revealed to the public in 1993, and I highly recommend reading the patent for HARP. You'll find a lot of similarities between our alien craft and their capabilities and what the HARP patent reveals to the public. Another extraterrestrial favorite is the International Space Station, officially launched November 20th, 1998. Some of the best mothership photographs are from the International Space Station. Most bewildering are the multitude of sightings in specific years which do not seem to correlate to specific major world events, including 9/11/2001. 1983 had 59 indisputable documented sightings, yet 1987 only had 3. In the 28-year span between 1980 and 2008, the abnormally high sighting years were 1983, 1992, 2006, 2007, and 2008. The years 2006, 2007, and 2008 alone accounted for 392 of the total 770 documented sightings. Aside from the saucer, the largest influx of any one particular alien craft was the triangle, with 10 sightings in the year 2000. These were apart from our own program. In the following pages, one realizes the significant difference in capabilities between theirs and ours. It was not until 2006 we hosted a large number of various alien craft. The primary sightings in 2006, 2007, and 2008 were saucers, triangles, and cylinders, with cubes close behind. Since several, possibly more, alien species have adopted the saucer design, it has been provided as a generic category for all saucers. It is interesting to note that during this 28-year period, we more than tripled the number of alien visitors from the previous 49-year period. In total, from 1980 to 2008, we had 290 saucers, 54 chevrons, 0 bells, I guess they went into hiding, 212 triangles, 68 cubes, 118 cylinders, 5 derbies, 10 diamonds, 4 pyramids, 4 donuts, and 5 manta rays, for a total of 770 alien craft documented sightings. To summarize our findings thus far, in the 78-year period between 1930 and 2008, there were 973 documented sightings of alien craft. A consummate host would accommodate everyone. However, the next decade gets a bit more crowded. Our alien guests may have to start reserving docking airspace in the future. In this next page, the true extent of humanity's dilemma is clearly apparent. Everyone has arrived in force, and I assure you the force is not with us. Other mysterious crafts have also arrived, which shall be discussed shortly. 2009 and 2011 had the most sightings respectively, 140 and 141. None of the years, except for 3, had less than 100 sightings. Not to be outdone by saucers, triangle numbers outstrip saucer numbers by far, for all but 2 years, 2018 and 2019. And those were not ours. There were 64 documented triangle sightings in 2011. Unlike the triangles, cubes never seem to assemble in huge numbers. The original cylinders from the 1960s have a new counterpart, which recently moved in for a tour of Earth, and are vastly different in design. A true passenger sightseeing spacecraft. In the last decade, sightings exceeded the previous 78 years by 346 documented cases, and there is no end in sight. From 2009 to 2020, we had 320 saucer sightings, 132 chevrons, 6 bells, 467 triangles, 132 cubes, 207 cylinders, 6 derbies, 33 diamonds, 5 pyramids, 6 donuts, and 5 rays. The total individual craft sightings between 1930 and 2020 was 729 saucers, 192 chevrons, 7 bells, 693 triangles, 207 cubes, 378 cylinders, 12 derbies, 44 diamonds, 10 pyramids, 10 donuts, and a 10 manta rays. It would not be unreasonable to assume that the vast majority of sightings around the world fall into these categories. When extrapolated as a percentage in ascending order, the results are clear. Saucers still are the most prevalent craft. Bells account for 0.3%, donuts 0.43%, pyramids 0.43%, manta rays 0.43%, derbies 0.52%, diamonds 1.92%, chevrons 8.37%. Cubes are at 9.03%, cylinders 16.49%, triangles 30.23%, and saucers 31.8%. In 1992, the first reported cross sighting had 13 credible witness reports. Several indicated the lights varied in cross patterns and seemed to be part of a much larger craft, possibly cloaked. As more definitive answers emerge from witness sightings, the mysteries of the cross will finally be revealed. The jury remains out on figure eights. Report of 2 abutting saucers appearing to be figure eights, then separating, was noted. Since 2000, we have some newcomers. The bow tie, hexagon, truncated triangle, trapezoid may have been new craft or variations of the existing craft. Judgment will have to be withheld for now. One might ask themselves what notable characteristics stand out with regards to alien saucers versus our saucers. Saucer motherships are roughly the size of the one seen on Independence Day. Ours are from Toy Story. You may be thinking, so we have a few visitors, but your opinion may change when we discuss the mother craft. Imagine the number of personnel on board a cruise liner, aircraft carrier, or the largest skyscraper on Earth. These pale in size to our Galaxy cruisers. As we proceed to the Galaxy cruisers, aka mothership sizes, one can imagine the hangar decks for the other craft we're about to discuss. Galaxy cruisers, also known as mothership sightings, are extremely rare, and only 5 extraterrestrial craft fall into this classification. We will begin with the saucers. They were described as being equivalent in size to 50 small planes, 1 mile wide, 1,800 feet long, 2 stadiums, 2 aircraft carriers, or an Independence Day saucer. The triangles range from 1,000 feet to 3,000 feet to 2 to 3 city blocks, or the size of a battleship. Our cylinders were described as being 4,200 feet long, 1 mile long, 2,000 feet long, and 900 feet long. Now the cubes are enormous. At 0.33 mile long, 2 skyscrapers, 1 mile long, 1 skyscraper, 1,000 feet long, and 2 miles long. Of course, we cannot forget the chevrons at 4 city blocks, 3,600 feet long, 20 747s, or a football stadium. Indeed, these are floating cities. With respect to witness sightings, there were 6 mothercraft saucer sightings, 5 triangle sightings, 5 cylinder sightings, 10 cube sightings, and 3 chevron mothership sightings. The first sighting, the Galaxy Cruiser saucer mothership, was on May 15, 1997. The triangle mothership was first spotted on February 24, 2009. The cylinder Galaxy Cruiser was spotted on June 6, 1966. The cubes were in August 11th, 1976, and the Chevron mothership or Galaxy Cruiser was first spotted on November 15th, 1988. This brings us to the Solar Hopper Recon craft, which vary in size but are capable of traversing our solar system with ease. Most often, the descriptions are similar to the craft that sent it. These are capable of releasing other craft or probes as well. For the sake of brevity, we shall simply mention the most numerous sightings specific to size. In the Solar Hopper saucer class, 6 were spotted at 150 feet, 4 at 200 feet, 4 at 300 feet, and 4 at 500 feet. Triangles had a fair showing, with 8 at 300 feet, 6 at 500 feet, and 3 at 750 feet. Cylinders were on a par, with 4 at 250 feet, 10 at 300 feet, and 4 at 900 feet. The cubes had 4 at 300 feet. 3 witness accounts had 1,000-foot cubes, and 3 had 1,100-foot cubes. For our purposes, we shall simply say 6 at 1,000 feet. Data pertaining to diamond, derby, and pyramid sizes seems to be limited, but the diamonds are consistent. These are set forth below. 4 diamonds were spotted at about 300 feet in size, 1 at 500 feet. Derbies, 1 100 foot and 1 300 foot. Pyramids, 1 50 foot and 1 75 foot. With respect to our legend, witnesses often relate size to known objects. In those cases, specific sizes have been delegated. A football field, 300 feet. 747, 250 feet. Airbus, 250 feet. Small airliner, 150 feet. Aircraft carrier, 1,100 feet. The Zeppelin, 750 feet. The Goodyear blimp, 200 feet. Now for the true mischief makers. Extraterrestrial fireballs, glowing orbs, and spheres. Over the millenniums, there have been countless witness accounts of strange fireballs, serpents, rods, orbs, and silver spheres. Sightings in America have been referenced in journals dating back to the 1600s. Biblical references have also been passed on through the centuries. Those reading this are most likely aware of such witness accounts, and that they have indeed been alien craft. Our extraterrestrial friends most often utilize craft similar in configuration to their motherships. These will be given the generic term classifications of planet shuttles, a fireball, a scout craft, a fireball. Glowing fiery orbs and rods are alien probes. The silver spheres are hologram projections. These chrome-looking spheres reflect every aspect of their surroundings in 3D or 360 degrees, similar to an IMAX theater on steroids. Perhaps they are analogous to the Atavachron or holodeck on Star Trek. This remains a mystery. Rods are the most unusual probe of all. These luminous undulating probes have been referred to as snakes and serpents. Their purpose remains unclear. Our front-runner candidate for glowing orbs is the black ball, which does not meet the traditional design criteria. Unlike the silver sphere, the black ball is quite solid, having left a perfect medicine ball-sized indentation in the front of an airliner. Many pilots have had close calls with these glowing, brazen cannonballs. Based on reports, sinister orb is a more apt description of its intent. Never allow one in your home. In the planet shuttle category, saucers were again the primary airspace offenders with 31 descriptive shuttlecraft sightings in their 50-foot model. This, or a slight variation of this, is popular among all our alien guests. By all accounts, the star is truly one of the most unusual and apparently flamboyant probes. When seen through optical lenses, it appears to be luminous spheres held together with a tractor beam matrix. It can spin, change shape, look like a star in the heavens, or rapidly descend to Earth and dart about. Only a handful of witnesses have seen it perform atypical activities outside of the normal choreographic dance in the sky. The few which have seen it close to the ground indicated the bright triangular patterns of light on the ground were observed almost as if it was measuring something. Our alien visitors are no doubt avid readers of Buckminster Fuller. The universe is a cornucopia of mysteries for the next generation to resolve. Pick one. Our beloved baby saucers, or probes, were first reported by civilians in the 1950s. June 15, 1954, a small gray 15-inch diameter saucer was seen 120 feet away. On June 3, 1966, 2 small gray 24-inch saucers with antennas were seen. July 1, 1976, last thing witness remembers was a 24-inch gray saucer hovering at eye level. June 1, 1999, a small Pepsi can-sized probe flew 5 feet over the witness head. September 1st, 2006, dark gray to black basketball-sized sphere hovering 5 to 6 stories up alongside the building. 10/20/2006, 4 witnesses see 10-inch plus object with a luminous orb 10 feet away at eye level. 1/15/2008, the fluorescent green orb hovering 3 feet above the witnesses housed a 1 by 2 foot saucer. Witnesses said they could believe they were being scanned. 10/23/2011, a sparkling orb turns into a 12-foot chevron just 10 feet away from the family and flies off. 8/2/2012, glowing red, orange, and white orb turns into a small plane-sized saucer. September 13, 2014, witnesses observed what was thought to be a balloon 3 feet off the ground and proceeded to approach it. At 2 feet away, she realized it was a pinkish-red colored orb with a football-shaped 30-inch object suspended inside. The surface resembled semi-transparent latex membrane. 8/1/2016, bird's eye view of the orange orb turning into a black ball. There are dozens more, but we are running out of room. Remember, there is never just one. But Two more. We have to put them in. Witness films a bright gold orb turn into a mechanical ball. One of my favorites is June 6th, 2012. This has a striking similarity to the Tahoe sighting. Triangular skeletal frame illuminated by neon or helium diode strobing red lasers. So what's in an orb? Glowing orbs are not just spheres, but small saucers, coins, cylinders, etc. all seem to play a role in surveillance. But the black balls and glowing orbs seem to be the most intrusive. The luminous fields produced by these fireballs and orbs are not necessary for levitation, and this has allowed a number of witnesses to see them with and without their luminous shroud of cover. More interesting is the orb field itself. A few witnesses have been fortunate enough to relate their visual experiences. The overinflated latex balloon with a membrane embedded in it seems to be the best way of conveying a baby orb or probe's appearance within the energized enveloping field. You might say up close and personal. Various descriptions have been furnished, and all seem to provide some conceptual and mental image of the probe or orb itself. It seems that humans are never allowed to touch the plasma field protecting the orb, be it outside or inside. The object always moves away. An uncanny number of time-loss experiences seem to coincide with glowing orb sightings, by those reporting the time loss and or objective witnesses recounting events which, in retrospect, seemed odd. Glowing orbs are not just spheres, but small saucers, coin cylinders, etc. All seem to play a role in surveillance, but the black balls glowing orbs seem to be the most intrusive. This concludes part 1 in our 3-part Twilight Time Traveler series. The following When Worlds Collide segment will continue by expounding on our favorite orbs, their capabilities and characteristics. For those suffering from the age-old Sherlock Holmes syndrome, please note the similarities in these cases relative to the plethora of hikers whose footprints simply ended. The hikers vanished without a trace, as if they took flight. But the governments around the world have neglected to tell you, I will. We begin with the sinister orb.